Hi guys, welcome back to my channel and welcome to the first official video of the 221 with Love series. So this video is just me talking about my intentions for becoming 21. And I wanted to set intentions and not just resolutions because I don't want them to just be goals or milestones that I'm chasing, but just general habits and kind of a lifestyle that I want to set up for myself for this new season and era in my life. So these intentions are written to be reminders, prayers, and even just promises to myself. And I wanted to share this in this video so that anyone else who's in the process of becoming can also follow along and maybe use some of these intentions or make some of your own, being inspired by the ones that I've written for myself. So without further ado, let's get into my intentions. So I split up my intentions into 3 different categories depending on what part of my life they kind of pertain to. The first category of intentions is for my mind and body. The first intention is to speak to myself with kindness always. I've noticed that I'm not always doing this to myself, and if anything, I'm talking bad to myself, so I just wanted to get out of that habit. The second intention is to rest without guilt, knowing that rest is holy. This is another habit that I've just seen myself getting stuck in, where I'm hard on myself whenever I want rest, but I've realized that it's actually important to let my body rest. Otherwise, I'm not going to be able to get through the things that I need to do, like schoolwork or even just getting through these videos. The third intention is to release comparison and trust my own pace. I feel like, especially in this time when a lot of other people in my classes and in my year are just getting their internships and getting their jobs, and myself being in a position where I'm not getting those, it's so easy to compare myself, but I need to always remember and remind myself that everyone has their own pace in life. The fourth intention is to celebrate small wins as if they're big ones. I feel like this is especially important for this little journey that I'm going on in this time of becoming. I feel like I really want to take time to appreciate and acknowledge the small wins that I have throughout this process, instead of only looking towards the one big goal that I have at the end of this. The fifth intention is to move as an act of love, not as a punishment. I feel like, especially when it comes to exercise, I can sometimes have the tendency to almost punish myself with exercise if I ate a little bit too much the day before, or if my body doesn't look the way that I want it to. But instead of doing that, I want to move myself and go on runs and stretch and go to the gym out of love for myself and for my own body. The sixth intention is to nourish myself with food that sparks joy. I feel like this especially is something that I've struggled with. Just my relationship with food has been a little bit difficult, but in this process of becoming, I want to really impress on myself the idea that all and any food is just there and meant to spark joy whenever I'm eating it, and not to kind of eat certain healthy foods as a punishment for myself. And the last intention of this category is to listen to my body and trust what it's saying. And this goes to say with when it comes to exercise or even when it comes to food, I think just in any part of my life, I want to really listen to my body and pay attention to when it wants more movement, wants more food, needs more water, or even just needs more rest. And in every way, I just want to trust what my gut and what my body is telling me. The second category is for my heart. The first intention of this category is to stop shrinking for other people's comfort. I think in my people-pleasing ways, I've often shrunken myself and not given myself the opportunity to speak up when it comes to certain conflicts. But I think especially now, I want to really make a habit of not letting other people's comfort be more important than my own. The next intention is to forgive myself over and over and over again. I think it's important to remember that I'm always going to make mistakes, and even when it comes to reaching these intentions and just continuing to practice them, I'm going to make mistakes, and I'm going to forget to just follow these intentions every now and then. But I think when those times come up, it's important to just forgive myself. The next intention is to love people deeply without losing myself. And this kind of goes along with that first intention of this category, where I want to really continue to love on others because I feel like that's something that's a big part of my personality. but I don't want to be doing that at an expense of myself. With that, I mean that I have a very limited social battery, and although I always want to be spending time with others and just spend time with the people who enjoy my presence, I want to also make sure that I'm taking care of myself. The next intention is to embrace my emotions as sacred signals, not flaws. I think this kind of also goes along with the fact that I'm very empathetic, and with that, I'm also very just emotional. And I feel like a lot of the times I tend to see my really strong emotions, like even just being sad, anxious, or even overly happy. Sometimes I can see those as flaws where I'm just being too emotional depending on the situation. And while that might be true, I want to still acknowledge the fact that my emotions are there and that they're still valid. The next intention is to find peace in my own presence. I think this is something I've been trying to practice a lot this school year, but just spending more time on my own and even just taking myself on solo dates and just really enjoying my own time alone, and especially time alone with God. I think that that's been something that's really been important to me, and I want to continue working on that. And the last intention of this category is to see beauty in becoming, not just the arrival. And this kind of goes with some of the intentions that I mentioned earlier, but I just want to really embrace this process of becoming and not just be so focused on like specifically the person I want to be. While that's still important, I think enjoying and appreciating every step of the process along the way is still so beautiful. The last category of intentions is for my faith. This is especially an important category that I want to focus on, not just until I turn 21, but especially as I go on into this new season where I might have to leave the church that I have here in LA, and I might be alone for a little bit before I find another good church. So I really want to just impress on myself the fact that it's really important to pour into my own walk of faith and focus on where I am with God. So the first intention of this category is to trust that God's timing isn't just perfect, it's protective. I think at times I've come to realize that while I'm trusting in God's timing, sometimes I start to complain if things aren't going my way. And while I've always learned that God's timing is perfect, I haven't necessarily been taught specifically that God's love can also be protective. And I think especially recently I've learned just through some experiences in life that there are some things that are in God's plan in a certain timing because He wants to protect me. The next intention is to worship in the waiting. I think this is also something I've been praying a lot about in the past few years. And just in this process of waiting, whether it be for a job or for myself to just be more patient with others and with myself, or just waiting on a lot of different things, I want to just continue to worship and praise God in that time instead of just continuously complaining or even avoiding God. The next intention is to pray even when I don't know what to pray. I think my prayer life has been something that I've always struggled with, and it's something that I especially want to work on in this little process and series of becoming. But even when I don't know what to pray or how to pray about a specific topic or specific situation that I'm going through, I want to still sit down and take even just a few minutes to just give that space to God, because I've learned from my pastors that truly, like, even if you're just sitting there in the silence, God knows what you need and God knows what you want to pray. So it isn't necessarily about the words specifically that you're praying, but it's just about putting that time aside to just be alone with God. The next intention is to invite God into the little moments. I think this kind of goes along with just embracing the little moments and the little milestones that I reach along the way. And I want to invite God into those celebrations and those tiny little moments, whether it be on my own or with others. The next intention is to return to God again and again. I think in the past, I've oftentimes gone to the people around me, my family, my friends, and while that's okay, I want to really be more intentional about going to God first, no matter what it is, whether it be a good thing that happened, like a big celebration, or something that I'm going through that's a little bit more tough. I want to really be reaching out to God first and praying to God first, and whether that be thanking Him or asking Him to give me more strength, I want to really lean on him a lot more before I try to go and lean on my family and my friends. And the last intention of all is to give God my dreams and to trust in his plan for me. I think especially as I'm going into a time of just anxiously waiting for job offers, internship offers, just waiting to see what happens post-grad, and even just waiting to see what's happening this summer in my life. I think I really want to just give all my hopes and my dreams to God and let him do with those what he will. I think obviously there's always a plan that I have in my own heart and in my mind of how I want my life to go. But I think it's important to remember that God's plan is sovereign over everything, and I really want to just give that all to him, and just because he knows what's best for me, and I want to just trust in that and trust that he will truly just take care of me. So I don't exactly know who I'll be at 21. And even though I'm going through this process of trying to become a better person, who knows if I'll really even change very much by the time I'm 21. But all in all, I just hope that she's softer, braver, and more rooted in grace than fear. And if I forget these intentions, I'll return to them again, and it'll be something for me to refer back to hopefully continue to grow and shape myself. But I want to always remember that becoming is slow. And honestly, I'm in no rush at all. I just want to really learn to love who I'm becoming. And I want to really just embrace this process and enjoy every little part of it. So if any of you guys are also in the process of becoming, follow along in my journey by subscribing and sharing with your friends and your family. And don't forget to comment down below any intentions that you might have just in a process of becoming, or any intentions that you've realized have helped you a lot in your life. Thanks for watching. See you next time. Bye.